Fight lasted 69 seconds, the knee buckled, and the dream of a comeback shattered. But Conor McGregor isn't waiting for the UFC's timeline. He's done waiting. The Irishman has accepted a $30 million boxing deal, just weeks after tearing his ACL against Max Holloway at UFC 329. Yes, you read that correctly. A 38-year-old fighter with a blown-out knee facing a year of recovery just signed a deal to box. Dana White's reaction was immediate. Conor McGregor is out for a year. But McGregor isn't listening. He has one fight left on his UFC contract, one more walk to the octagon, and then he's gone. The last dance is no longer just a rumor, it's a threat. And the UFC is in full panic mode because the sport's biggest star is walking away, and he's taking his show to boxing.
He had to get in the ring to get paid $30 million. Yeah. He doesn't step foot in there, he doesn't get his 30.
The knee buckled, the fight ended, and Conor McGregor's UFC career hung in the balance. But the Irishman isn't waiting for Dana White's timeline. He's not waiting for the UFC's approval. He's moving on. According to multiple sources, McGregor has accepted a $30 million boxing deal, just weeks after tearing his ACL and meniscus against Max Holloway at UFC 329. The deal is a direct response to the UFC's refusal to guarantee him a timeline for his return. McGregor has one fight left on his contract, one more walk to the octagon, and then he's gone. What was to be a generational beating is now to be reset, McGregor wrote on Instagram. IFW 2027, The Last Dance. The boxing deal is a direct challenge to the UFC's authority. McGregor has long flirted with crossovers. He fought Floyd Mayweather in 2017. He's been linked to fights with Manny Pacquiao and Terence Crawford. But this is different. This is not a one-off. This is a statement. McGregor is telling the UFC that he doesn't need them anymore. He can make $30 million with a torn ACL. He can make $30 million without a fight date. He can make $30 million while rehabbing a catastrophic injury. The message is unmistakable. The UFC's power is not absolute, and McGregor is ready to walk away. Dana White's reaction was immediate and dismissive. Conor McGregor's out for a year, White said bluntly at a post-SUFA boxing event press conference. We had him on FaceTime tonight ringside, but you know, Conor McGregor's out for a year. The UFC CEO was asked about McGregor's recent Instagram video showing him doing leg exercises, but White wasn't getting his hopes up. I have no idea, White said. The message was clear. The UFC is not going to wait for McGregor, not this time. The promotion has moved on, and McGregor has moved on with them. But the boxing deal raises more questions than it answers. Who is the opponent? When is the fight? And how can McGregor box with a torn ACL? The answers are unclear. Some reports suggest the deal is with a Saudi-backed promoter. Others suggest it's a one-off exhibition like the Mayweather fight. Still others suggest it's a two-fight deal that includes a boxing match and an MMA fight. The details are murky, but the intent is clear. McGregor is done waiting. McGregor has also been feuding with Terence Crawford, the former pound-for-pound king of boxing. McGregor claims Crawford turned down a $200 million two-fight deal to face him in boxing and MMA. But Crawford fired back, calling McGregor's claims cap and a lie. It wasn't never no $200 million offer, Crawford told the Ariel Helwani show. They asked me would I do it, and I told them, you ain't about to be kicking on me, Conor. The feud adds another layer of drama to McGregor's boxing ambitions. He's not just chasing money. He's chasing legacy. He wants to prove that he can beat the best boxers in the world, and he's willing to walk away from the UFC to do it. The countdown to McGregor's final UFC fight has begun. The boxing deal is done, the injury is real, and the legacy is on the line. While Conor McGregor was busy plotting his $30 million boxing escape plan, Dana White was delivering a cold, hard dose of reality. The UFC CEO, never one to sugarcoat anything, made it clear that the Irishman's comeback timeline is not negotiable. Conor McGregor's out for a year, White said bluntly at a post-SUFA boxing event press conference. The words landed like a hammer blow to fans hoping for a quick return. I have no idea, White added when asked about McGregor's Instagram video showing him doing leg exercises. The timeline is brutal but honest. McGregor confirmed the full diagnosis himself. It was ACL and meniscus. It is the same injury as the first Holloway fight, only this time the opposite leg. Quite shocking. He had surgery last week and is already walking without crutches, doing leg extension machine work to activate his quad under resistance. But White's assessment is rooted in the reality of the injury itself. McGregor's knee completely gave out on him during the fight. He fell every time he put weight on the limb. That's not a minor tweak. That's structural damage. McGregor pointed to his 2013 recovery, when he returned in 9 months to fight Diego Brandao, as proof that he can do it again. With today's regenerative medicine advancements and improved training methods, it is well within my realm to return by next summer. But the difference is stark. McGregor was 25 then. He's 38 now. The body doesn't heal the same way. White knows this. That's why his timeline is a year, not 9 months. The UFC CEO is preparing for the worst-case scenario. And if McGregor's recovery takes longer, White won't be surprised. But the contrast between McGregor's defiance and White's reality check is the story of this entire saga. McGregor is telling the world he'll be back in a year. White is telling the world to temper expectations. McGregor is talking about a $30 million boxing deal. White is talking about a torn ACL. McGregor is planning the last dance. White is planning for a year without his biggest star. The tension between the two is palpable, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The boxing deal adds another layer of complexity. McGregor has one fight left on his UFC contract. Once that's fulfilled, he could sign with another promotion or even step into the BKFC ring where he's a part owner. The last dance is not just a fight, it's a transition, a farewell. A chance for McGregor to end his UFC career on his own terms, and then potentially to walk away from the sport forever. The countdown has begun, but the path is uncertain, and the man at the center of it all is more unpredictable than ever. The Instagram post was brief, but its meaning was seismic. What was to be a generational beating is now to be reset, McGregor wrote, accompanied by a video of him warming up before his fateful UFC 329 clash. IFW 2027, The Last Dance. The words weren't just an update. They were a roadmap for the final chapter of his legendary career. IFW refers to International Fight Week, the UFC's flagship annual event, typically held in June or July. The Last Dance is his plan to fulfill the final fight of his current UFC contract before potentially becoming the biggest free agent in combat sports history. McGregor has one fight left on his deal. One more walk to the octagon. One more chance to remind the world why he was once the most feared fighter on the planet. And he has made it clear who he wants to share that moment with. When a fan asked if he had interest in another fight with Dustin Poirier or a contest with Michael Chandler, McGregor's response was unequivocal. It has to be Holloway. The trilogy is the only fight he wants. The two are now 1-1 against each other, with McGregor winning their first meeting in 2013, and Holloway winning the rematch at UFC 329. A trilogy would settle the score once and for all, and give McGregor the send-off he deserves. Holloway himself has already expressed his willingness to wait. At the UFC 329 post-fight press conference, the Hawaiian said, "I want to see what his injury is. As for me, I'm down to come back in 2027. With that March fight and then this fight, I know I came out unscathed. I owe my family some time. My wife and my son. That's my focus. You're going to see blessed return in 2027. The stars are aligning for a trilogy. McGregor wants it, Holloway wants it, the fans want it. The only question is whether the UFC will make it happen. But the UFC has not committed to anything." Naming Holloway as McGregor's opponent now would keep the former featherweight champion on the sidelines, potentially for the next year, while McGregor works on his comeback. The promotion may look elsewhere regarding an opponent for both men. There is also the possibility that McGregor could explore free agency after the completion of his contract. Once that's fulfilled, he could sign with another promotion or even step into the BKFC ring where he's a part owner. The Last Dance is not just a fight, it's a transition, a farewell. A chance for McGregor to end his UFC career on his own terms. The symmetry of McGregor's career is almost poetic. His first fight against Holloway in 2013 ended with him blowing out his left knee. His last fight against Holloway in 2026 ended with him blowing out his right knee. And now, the trilogy fight that will define his legacy is set to take place in 2027, 14 years after their first meeting. McGregor has now lost 3 consecutive fights and 4 of his past 5. He hasn't won since January 2020. The man who once ruled the sport is now a 38-year-old fighter with 2 catastrophic leg injuries in 5 years. The odds are against him. But McGregor has never cared about the odds. The Last Dance is real, and the countdown has begun. The Last Dance isn't just about one fight, it's about the future, and Conor McGregor has made it clear that his future lies outside the UFC. The Irishman has one fight left on his current contract. Once that's fulfilled, he becomes the biggest free agent in combat sports history, and he already knows where he wants to go. According to BKFC President Dave Feldman, McGregor has already committed to fighting in bare-knuckle fighting championship after his UFC deal expires. Feldman told MMA Fighting, "Unless he's the best salesman in the world, the talks that we've had, it's like I'm fighting here." McGregor, who became a part owner of BKFC in April, has been public about his desire to compete in the brutal and bloody world of bare-knuckle boxing. "I go, why wouldn't you fight here?" Feldman recalled asking McGregor. "Because you have equity in the company. And if you fight here, you'll probably make more money than anywhere else in the world because of what it's going to do for the company." The lure of free agency is powerful. McGregor has spent his entire UFC career under the promotion's exclusive contract. He has made hundreds of millions of dollars. But he has also watched fighters like Francis Ngannou leave and make even more money elsewhere. He has seen the Saudis throw 9-figure deals at boxers. He has seen the PFL offer equity to stars. And now, he wants a piece of that action. The Last Dance is not just a fight, it's a transition, a farewell to the UFC, and a hello to a new world where McGregor controls his own destiny. The UFC is in panic mode because they know that once McGregor leaves, he's not coming back. The next chapter of this story will determine whether The Last Dance is a victory lap or a disaster. Conor McGregor has set the stage. The date is IFW 2027. The opponent is Max Holloway. The fight is The Last Dance. But what happens after the final bell? The answer to that question is more uncertain than McGregor's knee recovery. McGregor has one fight left on his UFC contract. Once that's fulfilled, he becomes the biggest free agent in combat sports history. He has not ruled out signing a new UFC deal, but he has made it clear that he wants to explore his options. A return to boxing, a move to BKFC where he's a part owner, an exhibition bout on Netflix. The possibilities are endless, and the UFC is terrified. BKFC President Dave Feldman has been the most vocal about McGregor's future. Unless he's the best salesman in the world, the talks that we've had, it's like I'm fighting here, Feldman told MMA Fighting. McGregor has been a constant presence at BKFC events since becoming a part owner, and he has repeatedly expressed his desire to compete in the brutal world of bare-knuckle boxing. He wants it, Feldman said. He says, I have 2 fights left and then we're going to do it. I'm definitely fighting here. He says it all the time. The financial incentive is massive. If he gets those 2 UFC fights done, 100% he does, Feldman said. Why wouldn't he though? It's going to help skyrocket the equity that he has, so why wouldn't he? McGregor's ownership stake means he would profit directly from the pay-per-view buys, the ticket sales, and the media attention. A BKFC fight would be a business decision as much as a competitive one. But the UFC hasn't given up hope. McGregor is 38 years old. He has lost 3 consecutive fights in 4 of his past 5. He hasn't won since January 2020. The man who once ruled the sport is now a 38-year-old fighter with 2 catastrophic leg injuries in 5 years. The UFC knows that McGregor's value is diminishing. They may not be willing to match the offers he could get elsewhere. And if they're not willing to pay, McGregor is ready to walk. The Last Dance is not just a fight, it's a transition. A farewell to the UFC, and a hello to a new world where McGregor controls his own destiny. The UFC is in panic mode because they know that once McGregor leaves, he's not coming back. The sport's biggest star is walking away, and he's taking his show with him. The countdown to IFW 2027 has begun. The recovery is uncertain, the opponent is waiting, and the future is unwritten. But one thing is certain. When The Last Dance finally happens, the world will be watching. Not just to see if he wins, to say goodbye. The final chapter of Conor McGregor's UFC career has not been written. The ink is still wet. The page is still turning. He will have surgery. He will rehabilitate. He will train. He will try to come back. He will try to fight one more time. He will try to end his career on his own terms. Whether he succeeds is anyone's guess. But one thing is certain. When The Last Dance finally happens, the world will be watching. Not just to see if he wins, to see where he goes next. Because Conor McGregor's story doesn't end when the final bell rings. It only changes shape. The cage door is closing, and once it does, the world will be waiting to see what happens next.